Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Issues at Hand here at WBS Television. Peter Chibazo, your host. Hoping you have had a nice start to the week, depending on which part of the game you are. People in Butaleja yesterday having their elections, a number of them celebrating, and those that are defeated going down home to sleep. Surprise news coming through yesterday, certainly submerging a lot of the news that was coming through the world, because practically all international media outlets today have been submerged with the news of the resignation of the Pope, the first in 600 years.
It's called the Holy Pontiff.
Well, Charles, I won't go into the details. Viewers, this evening with me in the studio, I have a panel of gentlemen that I'm not sure any needs a lot of introduction. On the extreme left is Tamale Mirundi, the President's press secretary. Welcome, Tamale.
Thank you.
Tamale has been huffing and puffing before the show. He's welcome aboard. Right at the center is Charles Romshana. He's in want of a title. He's been hanging in there. There was a time when he had so many coming along to him. And next to me is Ibrahim Semujunganda of Chadondo East.
Yeah.
Where his residents have chosen to grab land and from a National Forest Reserve. And very interesting, Semuju, alongside the residents, stamped their foot and said, this is part of our share. And I was thinking, okay. Semuju, when they were called to Hotel Africana to talk to this gentleman about the eviction, you were on the side of the people that had grabbed the land.
There are three categories. There are people who call themselves veterans and have occupied a big chunk of what should be forestry authorities' land. But there are also residents of Bukasa. There are tree planters in that Namambe Forest Reserve. The government wants to take over land for private people, for the one of forestry that is occupied by veterans, and also part of the forest that had been planted by some 76 planters. So the about 800 people that I went with to Hotel Africana are residents of Bukasa, and that's the village where I stay. Majority of them were. But even these ones who have grabbed the forest, the actual limit has been given to them, and that's why they are not being evicted.
Well, viewers, I'm not going to discuss that one. I'll definitely give it a time of its own. A friend of mine says this is their share of quote-unquote 9,000 square miles. But yesterday, in one of very many fasts, Kenya, next door, had the presidential debate. They've been waiting for it almost 15 years. It finally came. I looked at the presidential candidates rallying up and stamping their foot and putting their word. Charles, I'll start with you. Just your thoughts on such a day. I mean, for me, it was a beautiful day. You have a pontiff saying, gentlemen and ladies, my body and spirit is unable to carry on with this job, so I return the job unto you. 6 years later?
Yeah, six, 7.
Yes. And then you have a fast next door in Kenya. And I was thinking, okay, are we about there?
We don't need it.
Just
the most interesting part on the resignation of the Holy Pontiff is the lightning.
The alleged lightning.
No, the lightning, it's there. Those are spiritual people. There are mysteries for us who are spiritual, who pray. I know for you don't. There are mysteries that the Almighty God, in His power and infinite wisdom, decides to keep you up to old age, very old age. Because some of our contemporaries die young. A person with a PhD dies at 60. But then you have a peasant in the village who has no access to Medicare, who doesn't even eat good food, living in a very horrible situation that you would call horrible situations, living up to above 100 years. And then you have a member of parliament, 50, 55 years, is finished, and dying of a disease that could be prevented or even curable. So when you have such an old man, live up to that age and having had that great impact, and says, I want to devote my time now to prayer, because my energy is, I'm getting frail, but I would love to. So my wish is that he includes me as part of, he prays for me. I wish I partook to his prayer. The second thing about the debate in Kenya, it doesn't excite me. What's exciting about it?
It's a first in the whole region.
Yes, yes. India is a great democracy. I think it's one of the...
well, in numbers.
Yeah, it is. It's a great democracy. Do we have prime minister's debates? Do we? Britain, do we?
Yes, we do.
In Britain? How about France?
No, but you see...
I think America is beginning to have some... I mean, it's having some bit of impact, and it's exciting our... And even these debates are not for the first. It's not the first time that we have had these debates. During CA, we had debates, the candidates' debates, the campaigns.
I'm not sure there were debates.
No, they were. They were debates. Very serious debates, by the way. And then the real voters would ask you questions. The real voters. So it's not new here. And now even when you go into the depths of issues, because America, if you listened to their debates, you didn't tell us the whole truth about the attack in Benghazi, where we lost an ambassador and we lost 3 Marines, I think, and the president was initially attributed it to the protest against the other film against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But is that the serious? Compare that problem with what is going on in Syria, compare that problem with...
Your point is the debate is worthless, actually.
But even when they attempt, look at how they tackle issues. Because Kenya has has very serious problems.
They were put on the table.
Were they?
Yes.
Yes.
I think they did. Practically, they were all thrown in their faces.
So anyhow...
Tamale, do you envy the Kenyans?
No, you see, the problem...
Do you envy the Kenyans?
No, I cannot answer a question like a primary pupil. I'm at the level of university. I cannot say yes or no. But I can tell you, like my colleague here, the problem you Africans make is that you don't...
must be one of us.
You don't analyze. Me, I'm not seeing a difference between having a presidential debate and having a response. The other day, if I'm not mistaken, the president responded to what one of our opposition leaders was saying. And
you have forgotten his name?
And today, I've seen somewhere where the same man has also responded. So, it's a method. I saw you conducting a debate between candidates of a party. When you talk about Kenya, let me tell you people, the problem in Kenya is that they fear to have the violence they had 5 years ago. This is their problem. When these people come and
that's
talk,
legitimate, isn't it?
this is the problem. Once they come and talk to each other, they will not fight. If you have this debate, then it will... 2, you cannot organize a beauty contest where I don't have examiners. People can determine that this is a beauty. This is the problem. The Kenyans, when you read the Kenyan media, the way they are analyzing the country's manifestos is not what you are doing here. In Kenya, I've read in the papers where journalists are analyzing the manifestos. They are saying, this one is a joker. Why? They criticized the Jubilee Manifesto. What did they say? That the Jubilee Manifesto says that we are going to alleviate, we are going to eliminate poverty. The Kenyan media said no. There's nowhere has poverty been eliminated.
Tamale, you and I know that I've said that 1 billion times, that
yes,
when government of Uganda paraded propaganda that poverty eradication program, I said that is a lie.
No,
you cannot eradicate.
Nowhere NRM is saying
the
that
Bonaba
it's going
Kagawale?
to eliminate
Change the
They actually use the word
policy
eradicate.
parity for all does not mean that you are going to be quick millionaires. That's why we are investing in money in development.
Wind up
It's
the
not
point.
a bet. So
Wind up the
therefore,
point.
when for me you talk about the Kenyan politics, that you see, how do we run from the Kenyans? The Kenyans are panicking. They are panicking. They have failed to analyze what caused the violence after the elections.
They actually did.
No. That's why they are talking about YCC. They have not learned from their mistakes. So when you talk about,
But I think all of us are having problems with ICC. We have problems with CON. Ours could be a little bit more serious, cutting off noses and lips.
Kony was not a presidential candidate. You are talking about presidential candidates who have been indicted by by ICC. So therefore, when you talk about Kenya,
listened to Charles. Charles thinks there is a lot of hullabaloo put on two presidential debates that they are not worth. Tamale thinks Kenya is actually just hiding their head in the sand.
No, here it is here, because I told you that the president has responded.
We'll come to that.
To what?
We'll come even to the quality
It's
of
the
responses.
method. It's the method which is different.
No, I think you need to understand the context under which this debate is being staged, and then the consumer of that debate. In the US, you will have a category that takes a decision as a result of watching a televised debate, and there will be voters undecided at that stage who will say Obama is the best, so I'll vote for Obama. And that's why for them, yeah, they take it, because you see, literally almost everybody has a television in the US. Of course, a little bit different.
And the power.
UK, yeah. It's a little bit different from UK, where you don't have those vigorous campaigns. The US, they a little bit. I mean, you can have people attending campaigns. So the debate in the US actually is not a luxury like it is in Kenya. It is almost a must, because you go through stages until when now voters can go and tick the candidate that they like. So that's one of the stages that you have to go through for you to be assessed. And that's why in the last elections, Obama, having lost the first debate, he was almost surrendering until when he had, because I was reading one of the, it must have been Washington Post, and they said if Obama had turned up during the first debate, that's when the election was supposed to be over, but he didn't show up. So he was, this guy Romney carpeted him, so he had to struggle during the first debate to be a little bit more aggressive than the Obama we saw. Their debates are much more serious. I don't think Kenyans are going to take a decision as a result of this televised debate, but it has a value that it reduces the tension. I mean, you see, the Ghanaians have come from a point where I have a strong man rolling, controlling, and he thinks everybody, he has contempt for everybody, more or less like you have in Uganda. Seven can only respond to SJ by writing. So to organize a debate, he thinks you'll
but
be
he has
equating.
had the civility to respond.
Of course he
He's
does.
taken off a whole day and written 2
yeah, but
pages
you
of
see,
the newspaper.
To bring them and you tell him seven to stand there and SJ here and Otunu, he thinks you'll be equating him.
What does he get from the two
candidates? And that's why, you see, there is some air he carries along with himself.
No,
he's much more different from any
what
other
do you
person,
get from the debate?
to the extent that he even forgets names of people he interacts with every day and begins calling them Nani. So he must be projected differently like an angel. So when you attempt to bring people to share a platform with him, you are actually suggesting that he's also as any other candidate. Because Museveni doesn't go into an election as a candidate. I mean, it's just a ceremony for him. He knows he has fixed the election, so this is just a ceremony for the others to participate. Therefore, I see two lessons for Uganda. We will need to come to a time when you can get presidential candidates to dialogue. I was a journalist here. The first time Besigye came to stand, his campaign was a more issue-based campaign than the last two.
It has never been.
He met members of parliament at Sheraton Hotel, explained himself. He met businessmen at Hotel Africana. So it was a person communicating to the country. But when you are not in the pride, there is no anyone else communicating, you then begin singing at campaigns and dancing. So campaigns become a ceremony but not a platform to communicate. And Kenya has that now, I have a feeling, because I saw them answering questions of ethnicity, questions of their own failure, moving from one political party to another. It does help, it does help. Anyone should be moving towards there.
Viewers, I'm taking a break, and when I come back from the break, one issue
political WikiLeaks
definitely, certainly rubbed Ugandans and got them alert was the issue of Mijingo. And I mean, one of those things that you ask yourself about, a patch of rock, as one of the candidates called it, that calls countries to tug and pull. What does it say about our management mechanisms as a region as we move into the East African integration? Don't go away.
When I had to prepare a quick meal for the family, Kala, you can only imagine what I had to go through. Kati, I would send Mike to the shop just before I fry the onions and tomatoes. Then I would wait and wait and wait and wait. And imagine what he would always come back with. But now, with Mukwano's quality premium vegetable cooking oil, now available in sachets, I just stir, tilt and pour. And Mukwano's new sachets are clean and safe. It's now available in budget packs of 25, 50, 100, 200, 500 milliliters and 1 liter. Mukwano premium vegetable cooking oil. Fortified with vitamin A and cholesterol free. Just stir, tilt and pour.
Thank you.
Be mine, love me, and the world is mine. This Valentine, we bring you Be Mine, a chance to express your love to the person you've been patiently waiting for. Text Be Mine to 8090 and stand a chance of winning a weekend with your Valentine to a romantic destination. Dinner, lots of wine, and so much more. Sponsored by Unique Hotel, Cineplex Cinema, Hotel Diplomat, Hotel 247, Colin Hotel, Siskalok Restaurant.
Use designer beauty products, buy Papa's movies and music.
Welcome back. It is Issues at Hand. Peter Kibazo with Tamale Mirundi, Charles Romshana, and Ibrahim Semujunganda. I'll have those pictures run very shortly. A snippet out of that debate, a particular interest for me, and of course we'll grow it into the level of political debate, because we are talking presidential debate right now, but even the level of political debate, both internally for you Semuju in a political party and at national level. Where are we at? There was a time when I would marvel watching Parliament. Today, I would hesitate to watch a parliamentary debate. I would certainly hesitate. Charles, you had the benefit of being in the CA. What happens to political debate? Because I thought by now we should be growing in the quality of debate. What I see is actually a deterioration. What happened?
You see, the initially when they came from the bush, they divided themselves into two categories. Those that did the actual fighting and who knew how to fight, but who were not that very literate. And those that were very eloquent. And those that were very eloquent were deployed in politics. I had the benefit of listening from Major Victor Bwana, who was really good. If you had the opportunity of meeting people like Amanyam Shega, that time even Kayono Tafire, you know, he's very good at cramming. So if you have phoned him when he's brand new and he has crammed his stuff, he's sweet.
Not only cramming, he's
good at cramming. Which original ideas does he have? And when he even has, when he gets some, they don't multiply. Because it usually they can even people who are intelligent cram. Because we used to attend their debates in Makerere, and they were extremely very exciting.
So what has happened to that quality of debate? Let's assume
so now
what became of them? Have they lost their ability to
now
cram?
That time the pillars were specific values: honesty, truth, integrity, etc. And mobilization was around those values, and they had a lot of support of the country. But they had now to shift from that to use of force or threat of use of force. Because like by the time I stood for elections, Jim was good in the debate, and therefore Chiboko had to work. But when we were in CA, you would hear political debates like from Tumkunde, from Mayombo, from those were guys from the military, even David Tinyefuza. They were really good. But it shifted. It shifted to violence, and then later on ended with the use of money. And with the use of money, it now had to anchor or a pillar on people who steal, because businessmen cannot spend all that much money. So now it's no longer debate, it's who has money. And it is cheaper, because if you have to debate with the peasants, then they ask you questions, you get exhausted. But it is cheaper if you say, I'm building a church, I'm building a school, they crap, and you have your votes.
Tamale, part of what Charles said
now, and then
actually a degeneration of the state.
That's not true.
What isn't true?
No.
That the state has
You see,
degenerated.
for me, I am very proud because I'm serving a more democratic NRM than these people served. The NRM that came to power in 1986 could not allow political parties to organize. Impossible. You could only use a press release and run away. That's why I was opposed to this NRM in 1986. The NRM that came, yes,
you allow political parties come in. Now the political parties that have come in are there. Because for 20 years they were in abeyance.
That the NRM that came to power in 86 or 87, when these people were there at the Mayalas, that NRM could not allow individuals to address political rallies, to canvass for support. Today is the question of where do you want to address a rally? This man is an MOP. He is complaining of regularity. That when the police tells him we need to be involved in the planning, he complains. But when you talk about 86, this was a different. But these people wanted to appear.
Tamale, let me ask you.
Was deviated
You've been in the media for certainly longer than Semuju and I have been. do you feel, candidly, from the deepest part of the bottom of your
Yes,
heart,
yes.
that the quality of political
Yes,
debate in
yes,
this country
yes.
is better than what it was
Yes,
yesterday?
why? In 1986, the NRM, as it says, that people like Otafiro, people like others, raised the issues, but who was responding? The DP, the UPCs had been defeated in the Okero government. Most of these people were lying like envelopes. They had lost credibility. So the NRM of 86, that this one admires, was not subjected to real examples. It was subjected
I think
to
we're not talking about proliferation of democracy.
so
We're
therefore,
talking about
therefore, when he says that the NRM of today, the NRM of today, the NRM of today is better than the NRM where basically was the political
I'll pause you
commissar.
there. I'll pause you there. Semuju, you've had opportunity to cover, I think, 2 or 3 parliaments, and now you are participating in one. And when we talk about the quality of political debate, and for me it cuts across, there was a time when the Democratic Party had Wenje within their ranks, had Semogere, had
Kawanga.
Tiberio Kenny, John Kawanga.
John
was a
Kawanga.
star.
Was UPC?
Yes.
The pillars of DP.
Yes.
For quite a while, I went to the UPC headquarters at Uganda House to listen to the men of UPC all the way from the rank and file to the top. They spoke and you were held in awe about their knowledge of things, about their internalization of issues. Forget about internet.
What type of newspapers do you have?
Politics?
No,
How
I
many
think
radio
with
stations did you have?
We have had 2 problems. The politics of patronage has aged out the would-be right people in parliament. Just look at Uganda here, when you had Benedict Mutiava, Patrick Chigundu, Professor Sedeza Kajuvi, even in villages you had people like Professor Mwaka,
Federal.
You had Joyce Mpanga from Muvende, the Kawangas in Masaka. I almost joined the UPC if I joined the politics during the 7-6 parliament.
Because you were
mainly because of Ben Wacha, Professor Okure Park, Omar Atubo, I mean the Dick Nyais, the
but even today,
Absalom Ongom. So
even today you see the difference between Hope Chivenger and Tamale Mirundi.
So the quality,
the quality that joined defended is not the NRM I'm defending now.
The quality that joined the politics.
So don't underrate me, my friend.
People who were themselves interested in politics. You now have 2 problems. The system doesn't bring the best that we have as a country. I actually think most of the quality detests the processes that you have to go through to go to parliament. You have weaklings, people who can put together 2 coherent sentences, both in English and
that's your problem.
But they are there.
In Kenya,
you have them.
In Kiswahili.
Then the second problem, the concentration of politicians when in parliament. You have MPs who know that I came to parliament after I have bragged here, like Commissioner said, I built a church. They know that's how they will return to parliament, not by their performance in parliament. So they don't concentrate when they're in parliament, but first of all, they came very weak. They don't concentrate, no research, nothing. So they don't improve. After 5 years, you'll find an MP is almost worse than he came. So therefore, even if you wanted to have a debate between, I mean, you go back to when you had, even in the 60s, when you had the Bianyumas in parliament, the Obote one in CA, just look at the committee. Was it the drafting committee? People who sat on that committee, the Kanyehambas, all the lawyers, and then look at the legal committee in parliament.
This system can't bring in the engineer Sakwas.
Yeah. You can't. You will not have them. There are a few who will remain, and that's why, by the way, on a serious day of debate, you'll have just about 10 people making contributions, and others
are just following. They are learning.
Yeah, And I think it is deliberate, and that's why I said there have been two processes.
They are
One,
voting
the
machines.
monetization of politics, but also Mr. Museveni has been very intelligent as an actor. The group that was able to sit with him, like we are sitting and debate with him, he deliberately either got them into some scandals or got them annoyed and they left.
No, I think there are two things. One, over monetizing politics, which has become extremely very expensive. And the second thing is violence. Because there are some people who cannot offer themselves to be beaten. Because now politics is for beating. You know what you are going through. But these are facts.
You have to organize the
That is how Tamale Mirundi never made it to parliament.
No. That's not true. That's not true. You see.
These are facts.
You
because
see.
like how Tamale Mirundi operates is not Hope Chivenyere wouldn't operate like that.
Yes.
And he tells you the course that he's facing is facing a different.
No.
Just imagine
that's your problem.
a meeting of the senior NRA, both the soldiers and the politicians. You have the Mushegas, you have the Butime.
But they couldn't be voted by the voters.
Today, ask yourself, a meeting where the Ruzindanas are the ones talking, and a meeting, I don't know who are people in the army now that can sit to the president and begin talking. So deliberately he had to allow and help that group to disappear. But you then have a group that you can sit down
the writings of retired Justice Tabaru? Contemporary history, the way he reads, but can he accept offer himself for any for
elective politics?
Yeah,
certainly.
Of course.
If I wouldn't, I don't know whether.
Yes, I mean, to risk to be beaten, then sit with some of these fellows who put sample and deny they did not, they were not conscious.
Let me tell you.
So the system
I'll hear from you before I take the break.
Let me tell you, Chibazo, the problem these younger men are making, which you are making. Why do we talk about Plato, who was born in 350 BC? Why do we talk about Churchill? Why do we talk about Sengo? You see, every generation produces people who can, especially democracy. Nganda, when a Muganda says that in Nganda you are an MP, the old Muganda laughs. Because the old Muganda couldn't believe that a younger man like you could represent your constituency. You were talking about the language, speaking English. Abuganda Lukiko speaking in Latin. They're speaking in Uganda. So if the Lukiko that you support and you believe in, the Lukiko members speak in Uganda, why do you think that speaking English is a problem? It's a big issue.
Does the language actually debilitate the quality of debate?
It doesn't.
Are you saying that these people,
it doesn't.
The problem they have is actually a problem of language?
It doesn't. If you think that the excellent soldier is Idi Amin, Field Marshal, then you are terrorist. No,
No, but
democracy gives the people representatives that they want.
Yeah, but you see the issue is, now like, look at the growth of...
In 1980, Nganda wouldn't have been supported by Democratic Party.
Have you thought of the issue of tolerance? In 2001, in 2000, when Chiza Besigye declared that he was going to run against Museveni, first I'll start with Semogere. Museveni was angered that Semogere actually walked out on him. He felt that it was a matter of right to even be consulted against by an opponent. Against Chiza Besigye, subsequently we have...
And Semogere, by the way, was almost beaten in Rukunjiri.
He was
beaten.
Actually, he was not nominated in Rukunjiri. All his nominees, they were lifted up
against him.
And Besigye never condemned it.
You were talking about...
Besigye never condemned it.
Thinking actually about the quality of tolerance.
No. You see,
in our political system, has it allowed political debate to grow?
Election violence is inseparable from democracy.
That is not true.
Yeah, it is true.
No, it isn't.
What about people
no,
who
but you see, Peter,
subjected in America?
And it's because of that.
Violence, everywhere you have violence. So, election violence, that's why. Everywhere when you
from democracy.
When you are having elections,
viewers, I'll take
election violence is everywhere.
Another
it depends on maturity.
When we come back from the break,
but you cannot say that we shall not have election violence.
There's a new workhorse in town. The new Dutch-Far Agrolax tractor from Dutch-Far, Germany is now available at Spear Motors Limited. This tractor, with user-friendliness as standard, comes in 2x4 and 4x4 wheel drive with a 3-cylinder diesel engine characterized by outstanding performance and low fuel consumption. It also offers advantages of a versatile and maneuverable tractor for yard, burn and light field work with its fully fledged equipment and high-performance hydraulic system for small, medium and large-scale farming. Its unimpeded view of all working areas, even under difficult working conditions, guarantees unprecedented safety. It's the ultimate workhorse that offers value for money. So pay us a visit today. Spear Motors Limited, plot M428 Nakawa Ginger Road for your Dutch-Far tractor experience.
Even as a boy, I had a strong desire to be a world champion. But it will take much more than just desire to get there. Practice, loads and loads of practice. I kept going, year in and year out, even when it would simply be easier to stop. I would keep going for all those who said I would not make it.
Such encouragement for every single investment in the Olympic Stadium. And
I would keep going for my wife and children.
he's got a smile on his face.
I would keep going for my country.
And he's got the flag, and he can't believe it.
And at the end of the day, after all those years of discipline and hard work, the reward makes it worthwhile.
A wonderful moment for him. This is the Olympic champion, Stephen Kiprotich of Uganda.
Keep going. Aqua sipping. Keep sipping.
With over 100 great TV channels on DSTV, everything else can wait.
And restore Kenya Party, RBK.
And next we have Uhuru Kenyatta from TNA, which is part of the Jubilee Alliance. Let's give him a round of applause.
And next on stage tonight, we do have the presidential candidate of the Kenya National Congress, and that is the Honorable Peter Kenneth.
Also with us tonight, we have Musalia Mudavadi from UDF, part of the Amani Alliance. Let's give him a round of applause as well.
And now let's welcome to the stage the only female presidential candidate in this race, Martha Karua of the NARC Kenya Party. Take that question. I want to come to the final question, which is a security question. Migingo, the island of Migingo, all of you have 30 seconds just to quickly say, is it Kenya, is it in Kenya or not? And if it is, what should you as president do to assure the people of Migingo that they are part of Kenya? Leader, 30 seconds.
Just repeat the question, please.
Migingo, do you know Migingo Island?
Yeah.
Is it Kenya? Is it part of Kenya?
Well, there is a problem. We just read the newspaper and we see governments fighting over it.
The team that was put in place to determine Migingo belongs to Uganda because we do.
Tamale Mirundi, after the debate yesterday in Kenya, as the press secretary of the president of Uganda, do you feel obliged to the people of Uganda?
But I'm not the spokesperson of government. I'm not the Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is the democratic government. We know. Yes, we know about boundary. I'm not a foreign minister. Those
are you scared to give
why? Why scared? I'm telling you, this is a matter between the two countries. You have seen how the Kenyans are defiling.
Do you feel that at the end of that debate, at that particular position, on Migingo, the candidates ruffled feathers?
I'm not speaking the question because my neighbor is...
Do you feel that Uganda was ruffled? If you were in the Ugandan government, would you be concerned about the attitude of the candidates towards Migingo? All of them insist Migingo belongs to Kenya.
I think there is even one who threatened that they would have.
Yes, they
would have invaded Uganda straight away.
He did not threaten that he would have invaded Uganda. He said he would, after all, Uganda does not have a navy. He would just take Migingo.
Yeah, and of course that's one of the reasons why we have arms, the proliferation of arms, this arms race coming in, buying like these planes we bought to bomb who. If you look at the quality of these jets, it's because of those kind of threats that we go in for. But from a security point of view, if you are looking at the threat levels, Congo, we almost went at war with Congo over Lake Albert, some island in Lake Albert. I think we even lost Mzungu during the oil exploration. We also had problems with Congo in West Nile, because they even shifted the border into Uganda and deployed.
South Sudan.
Yeah, even SPLA attacked. The attacks entered into Uganda and we have had to resolve those issues through. So there must be a reason why all our neighbors are moving on the territory of Uganda and are all threatening war. So my view is to study who is sponsoring that conflict. And I think this is where Tamale Mirundi has a point. Who is sponsoring this? Because it's coming up, and whenever it comes up, it's threatened.
Zambia fighting over Malawi.
But they gave it to you and you slept.
I don't have the
so now that
I think a member of parliament in the Ugandan parliament. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
This is Musoga bin Karazinga.
Yes, Musoga.
I think, moderator, you are not fair.
Yes.
Issues of borders don't have answer of yes and no. And if I had those people, the campaigners properly, they gave correct answers because they said most of them were not categorically saying Migingo was in Kenya.
They actually all said it was in Kenya.
Of uncertainty. And they were referring to the UN. For you to say that they are threatening Uganda is wrong. Unless when you did understand them well. Another problem with us, especially Ugandans, we have an element of inferiority complex. Whatever Kenya does, we think is good. And when they cut each other, people like Uganda praise them.
You're joking.
So I think it's high time we became assertive and be confident ourselves. Thank you.
Samiju. Of course, the controversy of Migingo, and now I get another one from Musoka bin Chavazinga. He says you actually praise criminal elements.
No, I think anyone who is honest with himself must know that Kenya is ahead of us in all aspects. Therefore, you can't deny that fact.
Not in all.
In all aspects, just telling me one area, whether agriculture, whether even what we are drinking, we can't even process our own fruits. So we begin drinking the one of Kenya, even the milk now.
Processing from here. The milk is processed by
But you know that mangoes are rotting all over. So by the point, I think the question was an attempt at shaping up some form of a foreign policy.
Yes.
The challenge.
How do you relate to Uganda and other countries? I think asked from a point of Migingo. And my own conclusion, because I watched that debate, Raila Odinga and Kenyatta, who have chances to win the election, were all not necessarily cagey, but they avoided giving a straight answer because they know if you're going to be a president tomorrow,
they could be presidents tomorrow.
Yeah, so you don't want to start on a confrontation or not. It is only this one who has almost no mathematical chance that said he will bring the naval, the navy to come and
can I say this?
Close up.
The challenges we have, because if you want to look at the advancement of a country, you see how they tackle challenges. So see how we tackle the fight against terrorism, like this breaking through people's homes and you kill the entire family. And the challenges they have, the way they handled the Mungiki. They couldn't cover it up because the elements came from the ethnic, from the tribe of the one who was ruling. They crushed it. But here, if the thief comes from a home area, you.
Gentlemen, I'll ask one final question across the table. I'll start with you, Tamale.
No,
Do you think that actually we are underrating even our political maturity? I've seen the President and Chiza Besigye exchange, though in the papers, but I thought, okay, I think for any matter, President Museveni has pulled off PR points here, and Kizza Besigye have engaged in this. Is that a level of maturity that is growing that you would regard, okay, we haven't gone on TV, but we are there now?
No, this is not new. I remember. In fact, what made Besigye was the President's response to Besigye's document. He circulated.
Do you think this can move to the next level of us seeing President Museveni and whoever will compete with him, I'm supposing that he will run for the next presidential elections, at a table debating?
But the President is a Democrat. He fought what he believes in.
Of course.
That's why we have not reached.
That's why he's putting on UPC shirt.
I'm telling you. The President fought for democracy.
Very
this is what we have.
But then protect me from. No, I don't see any.
President Museveni is engaging with his caucus, agreeing to disagree, but he calls them day in, day out to put
actually, theirs is not commanding them. Theirs is not a debate. Theirs is quarreling. But even before that,
at least the fact that the HE quarrels with these people and calls them